Cirencester, occasionally, see for more variations, is a market town in Gloucestershire, England, 80 miles west of London. Cirencester lies on the River Churn, a tributary of the River Thames, and is the largest town in the Cotswolds. It is the home of the Royal Agricultural University, whose oldest agricultural college in the English-speaking world, founded in 1840. The Roman name for the town was Cuillin, which is thought to have been associated with the ancient British tribe of the Dobony, having the same root word as the River Churn. The earliest known reference to the town was by Ptolemy in AD 150. The town's Carinium Museum has an extensive Roman collection. Cirencester is twinned with the town of Itzehoe, in the Steinberg region of Germany. Beeston Castle is a former royal castle in Cheshire, England. The Silver Jubilee Bridge crosses the River Mersey and the Manchester Ship Canal at Runcorn Gap between Runcorn and Widnes in Hulton, England. It is a through-arch bridge with a main arch span of 361 yards. It was opened in 1961 as a replacement for the Widnes-Runcorn Transporter Bridge. In 1975-77 the carriageway was widened, after which the bridge was given its official name in honour of the Queen's Silver Jubilee. It carries the A533 road and a cantilevered footway. The bridge is recorded in the National Heritage List for England as a designated Grade 251 Menlove Avenue is the childhood home of the Beatles' John Lennon, located in the Walton suburb of Liverpool. It was named Mendips after the Mendip Hills. The Grade 2 listed building is preserved by the National Trust. The 1933 built semi-detached property, which belonged to John Lennon's Aunt Mimi and her husband George Smith, is in Walton, South Liverpool. Lennon moved there in July 1946 at the age of 5 from 9 Newcastle Road in the nearby suburb of Wavertree. He lived at Mendips after his mother, who was living with her boyfriend, was persuaded that it would be better for his Aunt Mimi and George to take care of him. He remained at Mendips until mid-1963, when he was 22 years old. It was approximately 30 metres northwest of this house that Lennon's mother Julia was hit by a car and killed on the evening of 15 July 1958. In 1965, Mimi sold the property, taking away some of the furnishings and giving away The Royal Liver Building is a Grade I listed building in Liverpool, England. It is located at the pier head and along with the neighbouring Cunard Building and Port of Liverpool Building is one of Liverpool's 3 graces, which line the city's waterfront. It is also part of Liverpool's UNESCO designated World Heritage Maritime Mercantile City, opened in 1911. The building is the purpose-built home of the Royal Liver Assurance Group, which had been set up in the city of the Leading East to provide locals with assistance related to loosing a wage-earning relative, one of the first buildings in the world to be built using reinforced concrete. The Royal Liver Building stands at 98.2 metres tall to the top of the spires and 50.9 metres to the main roof, once one of the tallest buildings in the country. The Royal St Martin's Church is in Church Lane, Ashton-upon-Mersey, a district of Sale, Greater Manchester, England. It is recorded in the National Heritage List for England as a designated Grade II* listed building. It is an active Anglican parish church in the Diocese of Chester, the Archdeaconry of Macclesfield and the Deanery of Boudon. The first church, probably timber-framed, was built in 1304 on the side of an old Saxon burial place. In 1704 it was destroyed by a storm. A new church was built in 1714 for Joshua Allen. In 1874 a baptistry by W.H. Ragspear was added. In 1886 the turret and clock were removed and the ensuing year a new tower was built. It was designed by George Truefit for Sir William's Cynliffe Brooks. In the same year a ring of 13 bells was installed and a new lich gate was built. The Store Street Aqueduct in central Manchester, England, was built in foundations parallel to the faces of the arch. If a skew was attempted, it threw the lines of force outside the abutments, leading to weakness in the structure. William Chapman had partially solved the problem in 1787 when building bridges for the Kildare Canal, the first being the Finlay Bridge near Nars. The Kildare was part of the Grand Canal Company, for William Jessop had been the engineer. placed on care and maintenance and remained inactive until allocated to the United States Air Force on 1 April 1953. The station was never occupied by the USA and returned to Air Ministry control on 8 September 1955 for disposal. Today many of the original buildings still exist. However, much of the old RAF station has been converted to commercial use and a section of perimeter track is maintained and used by a flying club. The Trolleybus Museum at Sandtoft also uses part of the site. The Humber is a large tidal estuary on the east coast of northern England. It is formed at Trent Falls, Faxfleet, by the confluence of the tidal rivers Ouse and Trent. From there to the North Sea, it forms part of the boundary between the East Riding of Yorkshire on the north bank and North Lincolnshire on the south bank. Although the Humber is an estuary from the point at which it is formed, many maps show it as the River Humber. Below Trent Falls, the Humber passes the junction with the Market Weyton Canal on the north shore, the confluence of the River Ancombe on the south shore, between North Ferriby and South Ferriby and under the Humber Bridge, between Barton upon Humber on the south bank and Kingston upon Hull on the north bank, then meets the North Sea between Cleethorpes on the Lincolnshire side and the long and thin headland of Spurn Head to the north. Ports on the Humber include the Port of Hull, the Port of Grimsby and the Port of Immingham. There are lesser ports at New Holland and North Killingham Haven. The estuary is navigable for the largest of deep-sea vessels. Inland connections for smaller craft are extensive but handle only a quarter of the goods traffic handled in the Thames. The Humber Bridge, near Kingston upon Hull, East Riding of Yorkshire, England, is a 2.22 km single-span road suspension bridge, which opened to traffic on 34 June 1981. When it opened, the bridge was the longest of its type in the world. It was not surpassed until 1998, with the completion of the Akashi Kaikayo Bridge, and is now the 11th longest. The bridge spans the Humber, between Barton upon Humber on the south bank and Hessel on the north bank, connecting the East Riding of Yorkshire with North Lincolnshire. Both sides of the bridge were in the non-metropolitan county of Humberside until its dissolution in 1996. The bridge can be seen for miles around and from as far as Peckrington in the East Riding of Yorkshire and out to sea miles off the coast. It is a Grade I listed building by 2006. The bridge carried an average of only 20 vehicles per week. The toll was £3.00 each way for cars, which made it the most expensive toll crossing in the United Kingdom. In April 2012, the toll was halved to £20.50 each way after the UK government deferred £50 million from the bridge's outstanding debt. places reached by longer roads, in the case of Hull via England's longest bridge, that crosses the Humber estuary. It was owned by Manchester Airports Group, the largest UK-owned airport group from 1999 until August 2011, when it was sold to the Eastern Group of companies. North Lincolnshire Council retains a minority of shares in the airport. History. The airport was previously a Royal Air Force base, RAF Cummington, opened in 1940 during the Second World War, from which no 166 Squadron RAF operated the Avro Lancaster. The site was abandoned after the war in 1945 and lay unused until 1974, when the local council reopened the site as Cummington Airport, when the local area was renamed Humberside following local government reorganisation in England. The name was changed to Humberside Airport. The main runway, designated 03/21, was extended to its current length in 1909 too, allowing operation of much larger aircraft.